We have Joe Marsh with us, and Joe is going to be the keynote speaker today at the Legends of Hockey here in New Hampshire, and from Lynn, Massachusetts.
That's right, yeah.
Lynn. We know,
we know the rest of the point, yeah.
We won't go into that.
It's funny how everybody knows that.
It is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Played one season of hockey for the legendary Charlie Holt at UNH.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I wasn't there too long. I transferred from BC. I had some injury issues in those days, and I would say my college career is probably one of the more forgettable ones. Is probably the best way to put it. But no, I learned a lot. Had a ton of respect for Charlie, obviously, as everyone did, and had a lot of great teammates, and it was a great experience. Despite my lack of production, I learned a great deal. Hopefully, I was able to pass some of that along later on.
Yeah, and it was very shortly thereafter you went on to become the head coach at the New Hampton school.
Yeah, it was funny. I followed Mike McShane. I was with him for a bit. Of course, everybody in New Hampshire hockey knows Mike, and when Mike got the assistant's job at Dartmouth, I got the head job at New Hampton, and then history kind of repeated itself a few years later when I went to work for Mike at St. Lawrence, and he got the Providence job, and I ended up as the head coach at St. Lawrence. So it was obviously pretty fortuitous friendship for me and Mike.
And that job at St. Lawrence lasted a long time.
It did, yeah. I was there for almost 30 years, counting a couple of years as an assistant, and just shy of 30 years, 27 years as the head coach, yeah.
And the hockey tradition there is just amazing.
It's a wonderful, it's a great spot. It's kind of off the beaten path. I don't think everybody realizes what it's about, but I always looked at that as a strength for us, that when the kids got there, that was a self-contained community. There wasn't a lot of distractions pulling you away. It's a pretty rural area, but it's hockey country, mainly because our arch rival Clarkson, with such a strong tradition they've had, and 10 years down the road. So in that little pocket, that's real college hockey fever there, and it starts early and goes a long time, and regardless of the records, that rivalry sort of keeps that alive.
Yeah. When those two teams met, you throw the records out the.
Yeah, and it was a great spot. I guess the big thing, it was a great spot for me. It was a perfect fit for me, I think, and hopefully they felt the same.
Well, I guess they did. 2 trips to the Frozen Four, 88 and 2000.
Yeah, we had some pretty good years. We were a team, I think, though, that reflected that in that, we were a team that had to rebuild. We weren't in a position like maybe some of the bigger schools to reload. So our kids, we rode the roller coaster. We had our natural sort of cyclical nature of it, but we had our years that when we got to the top, we had some pretty good groups and guys that sort of understood that we were process driven, and they had to we had to do all the little things. We couldn't rely on 1 or 2 lines. We had to build from sort of the ground up. So I always felt we had pretty good depth in those years.
And you talk about it being St. Lawrence in a remote location. Did it make it any more difficult to recruit players because of that?
In some cases, yes, but in other places, I think certain kids find it comfortable. We had a lot of success with some of the kids from Western Canada, particularly Saskatchewan. Farm kids, they'd come to Canton and they wouldn't see it as sort of a small community, It was like home, So I just think it depends on the individual. Sure. It's not for everyone, but it's a wonderful school. The attrition rate is very low. I mean, the kids are happy there. It's a great, vibrant, college community, and again, there's only 2,000 plus students, so it's a place where I think kids coming there can make friends quickly outside of hockey, and that was one of the things I used to stress to the guys, that look, you're a Division I player when you walk into Appleton, but you're a St. Lawrence student when you walk out of there, and a lot of the kids really got a lot out of the university experience because of that.
Yeah, oh, no question about that. Tell us about going back to New Hampton School.
Yeah, I went back a couple of years ago, worked with Connor Gorman. They had called me about, was one of my former players there as a trustee at New Hampton, now Joe Ardagno, who played at Bowdoin, and his brother Mark was a former captain at Dartmouth. They both played for me at New Hampton, so they called me about maybe doing some coaching again, and I said, hey, really what you're looking for. I was a 70-year-old to, run the program, but I would certainly be interested in helping the young guy get started. And, I signed on for a year, and I said, look, Connor is the head coach, not me. I didn't want people assuming that, I was there to sort of babysit him, because I wasn't. He did all the heavy lifting. He did the job, and I was just there more to just sort of support him, and if he needed it. And he really didn't need my help. He's very capable. He's got loads of enthusiasm, lots of energy, and he's proven himself to be a guy. And I think he's got a bright future there, and it's a great little school. And the improvements they've made there since I was there back in the 70s it's a great little spot for kids, and he's really there to stay, hopefully.
And you got involved in the women's game a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I took a year. Bob Goddard called me at Dartmouth when Laura Schuler was coaching the Canadian Olympic team. They just were looking for somebody to come in and fill in for a year, so I did that. Coached the Dartmouth women for 1 year, and I got to tell you, that was really fun. I mean, the girls were a fabulous group of kids. I mean, it was easy work, really. It was, pretty low maintenance. These girls are, really committed students, and we didn't have any babysitting chores at all. It was really a fun year, and I loved it. It was one of the best years I ever spent in coaching. It really was.
Really? Yeah.
Great group of kids, and I help out now at St. Lawrence minimally, really. Again, I don't do a lot of heavy lifting there either, but I do help out with the St. Lawrence women. The head coach there, Chris Wells, who was one of my former players and worked with me as my assistant for, I think, 8 years. So he does a great job with them. So I'm sort of just around and pat.
But you love the game.
I do, and I like the association with it, because I just pat them on the back and hey, good job, that's all I do.
So what's the big difference between, because very few have really done it, between coaching the men and coaching the women?
Well, one noticeable difference right away is that the girls are very coachable. They don't act like they know everything. At least the kids I had were very open and very accepting of a male coach. I think they've had a lot of men coaches growing up, and there are a lot of young women, in the game now, and there'll be more women coming forward to be coaches, and but they're committed. I had some of the hardest working kids that I ever coached on the women's side. They were really, really. Like I said, we had some really bright kids. They bought in, and they were, totally into the process. So I don't think in some ways there's that much of a difference. But I guess, you go in maybe expecting it's going to be, and, I sort of toned down things a little bit, but I didn't have to really soft sell it to them. You could turn the volume up now and then if you needed to, or modulate it a little bit. But they were great. They were incredibly coachable group, and I in the same way at St. Lawrence, they're just great kids, and I like being around it.
There you go. That's the important thing. What else are you up to these days?
Not a whole lot. I do a lot of work. I live in Maine most of the year, really now. My brother John and I bought places together back in, I think it was 1978. So we two little cottages next to one another on a lake in Freiburg, Maine. So it's pretty nice. I do a lot of maintenance work around there, and it's all good. I like doing that, puttering around, so I don't play a whole heck of a lot of golf anymore because I kind of busted up my rotator cuff, so I wasn't very good anyway. So I sort of retired to do a little bit more of the gentleman farmer type thing. So it's all good.
Well, we're looking forward to your chat this afternoon.
Well, thank you.
And welcome. Great to have you with us, Joe.
No, it's great to be here. I got a chance to really look through the history of this when Tommy Moulton called me, and it's pretty impressive. I would certainly commend the committee. They've made a lot of really sound choices over the years, and it's great to see some of the names. And look forward to reconnect with some of those guys.
Great inductees today as well.
Always, yeah. They have really hit the nail on the head, year after year.
Joe Marsh, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate you being with us.
My pleasure.